Joining us on the show this morning, MD and CEO at Tech Mahindra, Mr. Gurnani. Always a pleasure. Great to have you with us, particularly as we play out Mahindra Week and put specific focus on some of the group companies and the way forward strategy that you have in mind. In fact, in the last set of results, you had said that Tech Mahindra is well positioned to capture such digital transformation spends, and the endeavor was really to get back on the growth path and see increased signs of demand normalization. How are we today in terms of the kind of return to normal when it comes to demand and trends that you're picking up now?
I answered the same question when you had asked me at the end of the quarterly results. And what I can again repeat is that overall the demand is good. As a matter of fact, when I look at my deal pipeline, it is the strongest that Tech Mahindra has ever seen. More importantly, what we are seeing is some of the sectors, particularly telecom, BFSI, retail online, and healthcare, are showing a fair amount of uptake. So I can only say is that we feel good about where we are in the market and the way overall the scenario is building up.
Probe that a little further. You've always talked about how new age technologies will be the drivers for change, for growth going forward, and how Tech Mahindra is well positioned to take advantage of that. What's the kind of opportunity that you see here? You have sounded, confident, and you continue to sound confident on Q-on-Q growth going ahead as well. But give us a sense a little deeper in terms of the kind of opportunity that you're seeing here.
So let's take a step back and divide this conversation into what I would call pre-COVID, during COVID, and post-COVID. Now, clearly, before the Wuhan crisis, the COVID-19 crisis, the industry was in a relatively a cruise mode. We were all expecting the 5G to become an accelerator of the business during 2020. And in a lot of ways, the migration to cloud, the modernization of the data services had taken off in the right earnest. During COVID, there were challenges. And the challenges were primarily in supply chain, manufacturing industry, and aerospace, travel, leisure. I think what happened is that during this period, anything that could be consumed inside the house, whether it was the lighting or whether it was the bed sheets or furnishings or essential goods or media and entertainment or telecom or utilities, continued to be consumed in a very, very, as a matter of fact, the accelerated way. Almost everything that we can think of, whether it was a data or furnishings, the consumption went up by 1.5x. The post-COVID scenario, which is where I think we are pretty soon going to approach the new normal, there is an evidence that the rural or the smaller towns all over the world have come back to normal. Even in UK, when you go outside, and my colleagues who used to live in London have actually moved out to the counties out there, they're saying life is normal in the pubs. The pub is only part of the culture which shows that in that part of the world, if you have stepped out of the major cities, the world is coming to a normal. So I think again, assumption is that anything that can be digitized is being digitized. It will get digitized, and COVID-19 has actually become an accelerator. Uh, in terms of new technologies, AI is here to stay. Cloud has already now become the driver for the four largest companies in the world. AWS story, all of us know. Microsoft is not far behind or is almost neck to neck. Their Azure platform is doing well. Uh, Google, which was little late to the party, we are seeing they've also become very, very active. And I spoke to the CEO of IBM only 10 days ago. And, Arvind is very clear that he is going to pivot the company, that is IBM, on cloud cognitive computing and quantum computing. So I think Tech Mahindra, A, with its partners, B, with its 1,000 customers, and C, having taken a view, sectors to prioritize on, and having built practices which will take us through the 5G world, I think we are in a relatively good position.
When we spoke last, you were not very confident, or you were perhaps cautiously optimistic about the industry. But post that, we've heard from Infosys, we've heard from TCS, we've heard from HCL Tech. All of them are saying the relevance for Indian IT has only gone higher, and they are talking. The bullish commentary has come back. Can I assume the same applies to you as well?
I mean, it's just the way, A, we don't give any guidance, and number two is, as a group, we tend to be slightly cautious in, our projections and the way we would communicate. But the fact is, for here to see that we do anticipate quarter-on-quarter growth, we do anticipate quarter-on-quarter better performance on profitability. We do believe that since 42% of my revenue comes from comms, media, and entertainment, we do expect them to do better. And as I said, healthcare is doing well for us. They, won a large deal very recently. And yes, I would like to say that the mojo or the confidence in the Indian IT sector is back, and we are part of, that index, and we are part of that sentiment. As a matter of fact, we have a better opportunity in a medium term, which is in the 12 to 18 months, because as and when 5G starts to get into more of a takeoff stage, I think Tech Mahindra is very, very well positioned to participate in the 5G takeoff.
The 5G, some would argue, is going to be an interesting space. Why? Because the world is migrating towards 5G, and the dependence on the Chinese equipment manufacturers is going to be less. Reliance has become self-sufficient, and a company like Samsung and Ericsson is likely to gain. So are you already getting into partnerships with hardware companies and other companies to make sure that you get a lion's share of 5G business?
So we slice the 5G market into three. One is what I call the 5G for the communication service providers. So next time an Airtel or a BSNL wants to buy 5G services, they would have many options, and I'll come to those options in a little while. The second part I always say is the 5G wave creates more opportunities. I mean, whether you go into esports, you go into the app life, or you go into the media, or you go into the handset manufacturing. I mean, ultimately, it has a own ancillary demand, which come in because 5G is now a reality. The third part is 5G for enterprise. A manufacturing unit or a healthcare unit would require 5G so that they can be more competitive in their markets. So I think there's three opportunities when I look at it. It is not about 3 or 4 equipment providers. The 3 equipment providers, you are right, is Samsung, now 4 really, Huawei, Samsung, Ericsson, and Nokia. Now, that market is being disrupted by people like Reliance when they bought this company in US and they created their own 5G stack. Microsoft recently bought 2 companies, Metaswitch and Affirm Networks. So Microsoft is also getting ready for this battle. You know Rakuten, which is the Japanese company where they rolled out a service on 5G and they rolled it out on one of our portfolio companies where we had invested called Altiostar, and they collaborated with Cisco. So there is a third stack which is now available, which is Altiostar and the Cisco plus many other providers. Last but not the least is, if you notice, under the Atmanirbhar scheme, BSNL is floating a tender where they have asked for indigenous suppliers of 4G upgradable to 5G. And Tech Mahindra is tied up with ITI. We are ready with the proof of concept on India developed stack. So the way I look at it is, for Tech Mahindra, we will be a partner with Reliance. We will be a partner with Microsoft. We will be a partner with existing players like Ericsson, Nokia. We are a system integrator. We don't differentiate between a product. And that is why when we quote for BSNL in India, we are still a system integrator. We do believe that the market will get reshaped by the software-defined network, and we do believe that our early investments will pay us very, very well. And that is why we are considered, front runners with any of the companies to become part of their consortium when they address the market.
Mr. Gurnani, you seem all geared up for 5G. But tell me, if you have to put it in numbers, what's the kind of revenue contribution are we looking at from 5G as an opportunity, say, in the next 2 to 5 years?
I mean, and I could give you all those numbers of billions and billions, but I would rather, again, not give any forecast, not because we don't have a calculation. If I put in the amount of capital in R&D and training and upskilling, we have clearly looked at that opportunity. The way things are, most of the industry hit the pause button during the COVID times. We have started seeing that markets opening up. The 4G penetration even now is only about 70% complete in the world. So this adoption over the next 2 to 3 years does sincerely mean billions and billions of dollars of spend, and we would like to take a fair share of it.
Okay, point taken on that one. In terms of segments, you just talked about in your previous answer about healthcare being the next upcoming sector. Now, clearly, we've seen a decline when it comes to communication, manufacturing, retail, transport, while BFSI, as we understand, was a little resilient, and technology and media reported positive growth. In terms of various segments, where do you actually see growth coming in from post-COVID?
So, other than manufacturing, leisure, logistics to some extent, and aerospace, most of the sectors we have started seeing positive growth and the demand coming back. So let's analyze it. In healthcare, while the hospitals are not doing too well, the hospitals are not doing too well because all elective surgeries and some of the things that they could postpone by the patients has been postponed. So right now, it's only the emergency and the COVID-related income is the what is keeping the hospitals going. So what is the pivot that has changed for us? What we have seen is over the previous few years, we used to go and pitch digital health. Neither the governments nor the hospitals were that serious. The solution was available. Now, clearly the digital health, which we call as a health next solution, in most parts of the world is now getting adopted, and we have our own software. In India, we have launched it under the brand called Ashwin, but we are actually doing it as a free service, more as a charitable service. We have tied up with various hospitals. We tied up with the government of India. We work directly with the committee set up by the Prime Minister, and we are now providing it as a telehealth solution. In healthcare, we have also, all of you have been closely watching the development of drugs, development of vaccines, and the trials thereof. We all know that if it was not the intensive software compute that is going on, this thing could have taken a lot longer. So healthcare to me will remain a good sector to continue to invest in. And as you would remember, 4 years ago, we bought a company which is focused only in healthcare and only on the hospital side, the provider side. That is doing very, very well for us. I think in general, telecom is on an upswing. Media and entertainment is clearly, the content has again started coming back. As you would have noticed, the reruns have also had a great life, but overall the new content production has started. So I think when I look out in the market, the confidence and the revival has started coming back. So post-COVID, and on one end, when the rural sector is doing well, so agriculture, food, all of them are doing well. So I am confident that things are coming back to a keel, and hence the sectors in which we have prioritized we have a better opportunity to continue to transform them, continue to progress on the digital journey.
So glad to get that update from you, Mr. Gurnani. Thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking with us so candidly. Good to have you on the show.